Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Hiring the right person can feel totally overwhelming. Kind of like searching for a needle in a haystack, right? Well, today we're going to hand you the magnet. We'll walk you through a super clear, step-by-step guide to recruiting and selecting that perfect team member.
All right, let's jump right in because this is really the whole ball game. What's the real cost of a bad hire? I'm telling you, it is so much more expensive than you think. It's not just about the salary you paid, not by a long shot.
So, these costs really come in two flavors. You've got the obvious stuff, the direct costs, right? Things like recruiting fees, the whole selection process, initial training. That's just the tip of the iceberg. But the real danger, that's what's lurking beneath the surface. We're talking about those hidden costs, a serious dip in the quality of work, team morale just plummeting, unhappy customers or patients, and even potential legal trouble. That's the part of the iceberg that can actually sink the ship.
So the big question is, how do you avoid all that pain? Well, it all starts with a major shift in how you think about hiring. You've got to stop seeing it as just, filling an empty chair. Instead, you need to start thinking like a marketer who's selling an incredible opportunity.
And this is a brilliant way to frame it, using a classic marketing concept, the 4 Ps. First up, your product. And no, that's not just the job title. It's the whole package, the role itself, the culture, the professional standards you stand for. Then there's place, the actual work environment. Is it accessible? What's the scheduling like? Heck, even parking matters. Price is, of course, the compensation, but think bigger than just salary. We're talking benefits, bonuses, retirement plans, the whole shebang. And finally, promotion. How are you actually telling the world about this amazing role? If you get these 4 things right, you'll have the best candidates knocking down your door.
Okay, so your marketing plan worked like a charm. You've got a fantastic pool of applicants. Awesome. Now, the game changes. We're shifting from attraction to selection. The goal now? Finding that perfect fit.
Look, your entire selection process, everything, from the first resume you glance at to the final handshake, it should all boil down to answering these 3 core questions. Number 1, can they do the job? Do they have the actual skills and knowledge? 2, will they do the job? Do they have the motivation, the drive, the initiative? And 3, maybe the most important, will they fit into your culture, with the team, with the whole organization? You're hunting for a yes to all 3. Anything less is a gamble.
Now, the interview, that's your most powerful tool for digging into those 3 questions. But here's the catch. Its power is completely dependent on the kind of questions you ask. So, let's talk about how to get past those canned, rehearsed answers and get to the real stuff. Okay, this is absolutely critical. It's time to ditch those generic, old-school questions like, what are your strengths? Why? Because everyone has a polished answer for that. Instead, you need to be asking behavioral questions. Questions that make people tell you a story, give you a specific example from their past. See the difference? Asking, tell me about a time you experienced a lack of teamwork is 1,000 times more insightful than just asking, are you a good communicator? Remember this. Past performance is the single best predictor of future behavior. What they did is what they'll do. And here's the secret to making those powerful behavioral questions really work for you. Consistency. You have to use a structured interview guide. Ask every single candidate the same core questions. When you do that, you're taking your own bias out of the equation and creating a truly level playing field. It is the only way to compare apples to apples and make a fair, objective choice.
All right, we're on the home stretch. Let's talk about making the official offer. This is where having a solid step-by-step process is not just helpful, it's absolutely crucial for making a successful and legally sound hire. Your process and procedures are your best friends here, trust me. So here's the path. First, you take all your finalists and compare them side by side against the job's core requirements. Next, you do your homework, conduct those reference and background checks. Then you can make a verbal offer, but make it conditional. Pending a drug screen or whatever else is required. And only when all those conditions are met, only then is the offer truly official. This sequence protects everybody involved.
And this right here is exactly why those background checks are a complete non-negotiable. The term is negligent hiring, and it's a huge legal risk you don't want to take. Basically, it means you failed to do your due diligence, you didn't check someone's background properly, and then that person causes harm. Seriously, protecting your team, your customers, and your organization starts right here with these checks.
Now, this chart is so useful because it draws some really clear legal lines in the sand for you. And if you look closely, you'll see a pattern, right? The safe questions are always about one thing. Can the person perform the essential functions of the job?
The unsafe questions, they wander off into personal territory, age, kids, health, citizenship. None of that has anything to do with their ability to do the work, and asking about it opens you up to claims of discrimination. Stick to the job, always.
Honestly, if you only remember one thing from this whole section on legal interviewing, make it this quote. This is your golden rule, your ultimate litmus test. Before you ask any question, just stop and ask yourself, how is this question directly related to job performance? If you can't immediately draw a straight, clear line from your question to a core function of the job, just don't ask it. It's really that simple.
So when you step back and look at all of this, you realize something pretty profound. Your hiring process is like a mirror held up to your organization. What does it reflect? Are you just scrambling to fill a seat, or are you thoughtfully, strategically building the team that will define your organization's